It's time for Transport Line, the program that showcases the contributions of all modes of transportation to the socio-economic growth and development of our country, Africa, and the rest of the world. Transport Line is being beamed to you from the Center of Excellence, the state of aquatic splendor, and Africa's second largest economy, Lagos. I am Shina Ilegbede. Glad to know that you are keeping us company. The United States-Iran-Middle East war is taking its toll on two major modes of transportation, maritime and the aviation sector. Globally, the impact is being gradually felt. Down in Nigeria here, we started feeling the pinch. Virtually every 24, 48 hours now, the cost of PMS and diesel are being increased. What are the implications for the average Nigerian in terms of inflation and the survivor on a daily basis? As this US-Iranian war is ongoing, the national single window, which they want to introduce later this month, the countdown has started. And we have many views as regards what should be, what should not be. But I have on set a maritime consultant who is very vast in both aviation and the maritime sector. In fact, talking about cargo clearance aviation, talking about free forwarding in maritime, the man is really at home. So Dr. Segun Musa is my guest. Firstly, he's going to tell us what the National Single Window is all about. Why is he worried about the euphoria everybody is expressing about this issue? He will explain to us what should be done for us to know. Is it an extension of Odogu? Or is it something that at the end of the day we really jubilate about? Dr. Segun Musa, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you.
Nice to see your face again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Doctor, National Single Window. What is your perception of it and how do you see it?
Yes, thank you very much. First and foremost, my definition of National Single Window is a container or a body of a vehicle that for it to become automotive, there are some factors that must be considered. There are some components that must be integrated. When you have a body of a vehicle, you must have the tire, you must have the gear, you must have the engine, you must have the furniture, you must have the auxiliary and every other component that makes it a complete vehicle. So the National Single Window itself is just like the body. The content that makes it a complete metamorphose is the major ingredient that drives single window. Without all those components, single window is nothing. It's just an ordinary nomenclature, or just ordinary a name. And my worry about single window is all these noise about single window. There's nothing special about single window. The essence of single window is just to bring all the components that drives supply chain, bring them together, especially those that are the state actors, bring them into the vehicle to make sure we're able to move the vehicle, to drive the vehicle. And when you have a single window, but those components are not effective, then the essence of single window is defeated. What government should be doing is to look into those components that makes it a complete system that drives the economy, must be test run to ensure that they are very, very efficient to drive the single window. If a single component of those agencies are being integrated into single window, if they are not effective, then the essence of single window will be defeated.
Good. In practical terms,
Yeah.
I was going to, before I interject, in practical terms, how do we go about it? Because the idea as expressed by some stakeholders is that everybody is going to be brought into one portal. So how do you go about this?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain. All these agencies and the state and non-state actors that will be interacting within that single window platform. If one of them is not efficient, take for instance, custom, they've done their due diligence, they've examined, they've released, you pay your custom duty, and NAFDAC said, look, our network is down, or our server is down. Then whatever the NAFDAC, standard organization, or any other agency has done is just a waste of time. Because cargo cannot be said to have been cleared or released without all these actors playing their own diligence and doing their due diligence. So it's not about customs are ready, or NAFDAC is ready, or NDLE is ready, or standard organization is ready. No, all of them must be ready. You must test run their system and see the efficiency. So when all of them are effective, then the communication will be effective, and there won't be break in communication, or there won't be what we call open circuits. Once you experience open circuit, then the essence of introducing the single window is baseless. So our argument is, with or without single window, we can actually effectively enhance trade facilitation and ease of doing business. Single window is just an ordinary name, and the essence is we don't want the state actors or the non-state actors that gets their clearance, their permits, their licenses through all these state actors to go far distance to find their documentation. One is going to Ikoyi, another one is going to VI, you go to Lekki. It kills time. But when we bring everybody together in a platform, the interaction will be very symbiotic, because it's going to be an holistic component that will enhance trade interaction. But that trade interaction cannot be achieved without ensuring that all the actors have the capacity to show efficiency. So our argument is, number one, let's test run all these agencies. Give them time. Let's see how effective they can perform. Let's see if they have challenges that we can address before you now bring all of them together in that vessel. So if they start interacting today, and one of them breaks down, then the essence of the single window will be defeated. And for us to start going back to where we are coming from become a problem. So we must ensure that we are able to get efficiency from all these actors that will be interacting before we can say, yes, we are ready for single window. Otherwise, we are just going after what we call fire brigade approach, and somebody just wants to score a mark that I introduce this or I drive this. But the driving is good, but if the driving is not effective, then the essence of all this effort is wasteful. And these are part of what we used to tell government. It is not about government, it's about the nation. It's about all of us. If there's any policy somersault, it does not affect only government, it affects all of us. We have people that are investing hugely in business. So if single window frustrate their business, some of them can close shop. So the multiplier effect will be huge on everybody. So it's not a government project, it's a national project that involves the state actors and non-state actors. So all these hula balu, all these fire brigade approach, we must commence, without even test running. I think it is not in the interest of the economy, especially now that we are running a very fragile economy. So government must ensure that both the state actors and non-state actors put this into test, especially the agencies. What we introduced, because I was about 15 years there, about 15 to 20 years ago when it was introduced. We attended a training at Gwagwalada. We are the maiden stakeholders that attended the training in custom training school in Gwagwalada in Abuja. And part of my concern then has always been, number one, we cannot allow customs to midwife or superintend over it. It must be a multi-actors that must superintend over it, both the state and the non-state. As we speak today, it's only the state actors. And for God's sake, this platform, maybe people don't understand how economy how we drive economy in other parts of the world. For you to drive economy in every part of the world, and it's not peculiar to us, everywhere, it's a global thing. you must bring on board the state actors and the non-state actors. The state actors will be able to say, this is a government drive. This is a focus of government. The non-state actors will say, look, this is what we prosper our businesses. So there will be a kind of interactive engagement, very healthy interactive engagement between the state and non-state actors. So it's not about government project. It's about our project, a national project. What they are doing now is like government is taking ownership and they want to drive it the way it favors them, not the way it favors the business community. And at the end of the day, if it becomes a policy somersault, it does not affect government as much as it will affect the state, the non-state actors. And that is our worry on single window.
No, Doctor, I understand that there have been many stakeholders meetings which Nigerian Customs Service championed, and the stakeholders attended. And the feedback is that people who are now conversant about what the national single window is going to be, what it's going to be all about. Aside that, we've been running import and export business for decades now. So we can forestall the type of problems we are going to encounter. What should be done to prevent that? So that, like you said, they have either policy somersault or breakdown in this single window portal.
Number one, like I did mention, we must make sure all these actors, the state actors that will be on that in that platform must be very, very effective. As we speak today, some of them still have this server breakdown. Some of them still have network problems. All this must be put into consideration.
Is it commonplace to the university's country or is peculiar to this country?
It's peculiar.
Then what should be done?
Number one, we must provide the facility that drives it.
Such as?
Your networking, the internet, the electricity, and every other thing that will enhance efficiency. And there must also be a kind of deterrence that will ensure that everybody uphold high ethical standard in driving this system. Number one. Number two, we must use this same system to drive what we call automation, the system automation. Because if you have single window and the system is not automated, then the essence of the single window will be defeated. This is the industry that is a lot of corrupt practices. And the only thing that will deter people from what we call unethical conduct is when you automate the system. That has been agreed upon. For instance, the CG of Custom just introduced what we call central processing units. That you don't need to have evaluation separate, enforcement separate, CIU separate. All of them will be within the processing unit. So once all of them goes through the risk assessment of the documentation, they release to you. And once you can put that in place, what is the essence of having examination again? Because what I proposed over 20 years ago, and I'm still advocating over now, is a full automation system. Automation system that you approach the trader's platform, you input your details, all your data of the imports. It's the custom server, and they start processing it immediately. Because by the time the cargo is coming in, we've already scanned the content, and the content has already been attached, the file has been attached to the manifest. So by the time you input your own data, they will compare what has been scanned, what has been manifested, and what you inputted. If there's no discrepancy, they advise you to make duty payment. Once you make duty payment, custom release to you immediately at the CPC. You don't go and meet any custom in the warehouse. They release to you immediately because there is no need for any physical examination again. And the single window will only enhance that because whatever has been scanned is also shared with other agencies. So once they release to you, it is expected that immediately custom is releasing, NAFDAC is releasing, Standard Organization is releasing. So once we have that, you get the release, e-release, we call it e-release, electronic release. They transmit to you, and they transmit to the terminal, as well as the shipping company. So you go online to the shipping company platform online, you input your delivery order, they compare what you've inputted, they electronic release from the custom you've inputted, the one that has been transmitted from the custom that you've inputted. And once there's no discrepancy, they advise you to make their payment, and they also release to you. They transmit the release to you as well as the terminal. So once the release gets to the terminal, you go to the terminal platform online. You input the custom release that you've obtained, the one you've obtained from customs. You fill their document online. They compare what you've inputted with what they have. If there's no discrepancy, they allow you to make their payment, and they give you what we call electronic terminal delivery order, ETDO. Once you have your ETDO, they send it to you and give you the code. You send the code to your haulage. The one that had been transmitted to you, you also dispatch to the haulage company or your own drivers. Immediately they get it, they proceed to the terminal. Once they get to the entry gates, at the entry gate, they give the gate man, the gate officer, the electronic delivery order. He checks the system. It's the same with what has been transmitted to the gate. The gate will alert the terminal that a vehicle or haulage of this number is coming to load this container. Before the haulage gets to the terminal, they've positioned your container. You don't have to start digging before when the haulage gets there. They've positioned your container. Immediately your truck gets to the terminal, they put the container on the truck, and the truck will exit without anybody stopping in the terminal, and no officer laying siege on the road. That is the essence of single window. That is the power of automation. If we can achieve that, then we can say government is doing the right thing. But otherwise, if we have to go back to the usual process of the custom needs to do, the agent needs to see the importer, I think it's a wasteful effort.
Doctor, in practice, it doesn't work that way from what the stakeholders have expressed at various fora. And you find out that you spoke about servers breaking down, or at times foreign exchange, what have you. But now, thank God we've spoken about the terminal operators. They are an important factor in terms of this single window, especially when you are trying to clear cargo with the target of maximum 48 hours clearance. What is your view on this?
Yeah, we have the problem of terminal operators. The problem of terminal operators is that of 80%, 70 to 80% of their revenue is being generated through demorages.
Why?
So it is in interest of terminal operators that your shipment should remain there for a very long time, so that they can maximize their own revenue.
Whose fault when you're talking about demurrage?
Yes.
The delay in releasing cargo.
Number one,
at the terminal.
whose fault? I think that's a very good question. The fault is that of all the agencies. All the agencies. And that's the beauty of automation. Number one, if I'm running my entry through the custom platform or traders platform, if there's any discrepancy, I'll be alerted immediately. I don't need to be in the custom processing center. I should be alerted. I should have a text message. Custom cannot work as if they're independent of the economy, or they don't care what happens. Custom must be very, very proactive, not reactive. What we are having today is a custom that is not as good as what we used to have in the past. Even in the days of Longroom. The reason why we shorten Longroom to CPU is because we want to minimize interface. We want to reduce the number of paperwork
And lessen corrupt practices.
and lessen corrupt practices. But what do we have today? We have more paperwork. We have more interface. You have to go from one table to the other. That's not customs. And I've told them, whether they like it or not, the only way they can maximize revenue is not through target. Target is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I used to tell a lot of people that any government that believes in custom target, import duty, revenue target, that person is an enemy of the economy. Enemy of the economy because the worst economic regulation is to give custom targets. It's the laziest way of generating revenue. The laziest way of generating revenue. Every viable economy generates revenue based on performance, not on target. It is when you ease business, when you create a platform for trade facilitation, that's when you can see multiplier effect of revenue on the turnover. Not when you give target. Over 30% of revenue that custom established as their target are collected fraudulently. When custom will go on the internet and look for internet value, window shopping price online, and slam it on importer, at the end of the day, you say you've met your target or you've even gone beyond your target. No, that's not how to build an economy. All of us can say, yes, custom is making target, but in a normal climb, anytime custom generates more revenue or increase in revenue target through import duty, everybody in that country will start crying. Everybody in that country will start crying. This one that we call drums, and we start jubilating that customers surpass their import duty revenue target, and we start jubilating. In a normal climb, in advancing climb, everybody in that country will start crying because it's an indication that the economy is rapidly nosediving. It's an indication that you are wholly depending on imports. For every viable economy, they develop their revenue through internal generated revenue, not through import duty. And that's what gives me more worry. That does that mean that people that drive our economy do not even understand that we don't need to spend so much money to manage our exchange rates for us to reduce the value of dollar so that Naira can appreciate. We spend a lot of unreasonable money to manage our forest. Whereas we don't even need to spend so much money. We don't need to have investor to invest money so that our currency can have value. All we need to do is to build our production and our manufacturing, satisfy our local consumption, and start building towards satisfying export consumption. That's when you achieve what we call balance of trade. Once you're able to achieve balance of trade, you achieve what we call balance of payment. Once you achieve balance of payment, you see your currency being strengthened automatically.
It's been nice talking to you on this issue of national single window. And of course, on a parting shot, how do we see the US-Iran crisis effect on the average Nigerian?
Yeah, number one, I think this is the time government needs to show to the masses that truly we are saving the subsidy. This is how to know whether government is truly saving the subsidy or they are not saving the subsidy. Because if you remove subsidy to channel it into a pool to manage the economy, this is the time we want to see the impact of that subsidy. It is expected for every government that is very responsive that immediately the war started, because we have a pool that we save the subsidy. It is time for government to start putting hand inside that pool to cushion the effects of this Middle East crisis. And that's when people will now begin to say, yes, this is the reason why we are saving the subsidy. Otherwise, for whatever reason government have claimed to have saved the subsidy, then nobody, no citizen, will agree on that. This is the only time we can see the impact of the subsidy. Number one, the cost of commodity must not increase. We must start making use of that subsidy to cushion the effect of this increase in crude oil globally. We must use the subsidy to cushion the effect of the imports of commodities, consumables, and products that will run industries. This is the time we want to see it. And if government is able to convince us that yes, they have the pool as they claim, then we must begin to see the impact now.
Dr. Segun Musa, I want to thank you for finding time to come on Transport Line. It's been an interesting 23-25 minutes discussion. We just hope that with time, common sense will prevail and we find solution to the US Iranian Middle East crisis. We look forward to see you again on Transport Line. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Well, again, with the present global situation, this is where we should more or less cushion our assistance to our fellow human being. In essence, compassion should be in the front burner now. everybody should know that inflation is getting higher. And I tell you, it's not an issue of Tinubu government, oh. It's the issue of global crisis. But we can mitigate it if you believe that you must be your brother's keeper. Compassion is the key word. That way, everybody will be happy. Till next time, bye-bye for now.